Just chill a little
Hello,
bit.
my name is Jason Schreier, and
Hello, I'm Tim Rogers. Welcome back to Video Games. We're live from the Kotaku Goblin Bunker Network on twitch.tv/Kotaku. And we're going to ride a bus, play some cards, kill a Disney queen, an
try
evil
to
queen.
kill a Disney.
Try to
queen.
kill, well, yeah, we're going to...
So, this is Final Fantasy VIII Remastered Edition, which is sort of like Final Fantasy VIII, except there's a remaster on it.
Look at those redrawn face portraits.
So, I am playing... So, yeah, a little bit of context here. So, we are a couple of hours into the game. This is my save file that I've been playing. Turns out Final Fantasy VIII, good video game with some caveats that I will get into very shortly. But the remastered version, it has these kind of like crisper, higher resolution versions of all of the character models and buses. They put a lot of effort into those buses.
Yeah,
but
those
you can
buses
see
are
that
sweet.
the rest of the backgrounds are kind of left untouched from the original 1999 version. And so the story so far, just to give you a little bit of background here, is that you play as a group of members of a child soldier training facility called Seed.
Oh, yeah.
And you are sent on various
Seed,
missions.
where child soldiers are cool.
And our mission right now is to go into this city, Delling City, which is the capital of Galbadia, which is kind of one of the countries of this world. And your mission is to assassinate this sorceress named Idia.
So
Said to be corrupting the president of Galbadia.
Have you noticed that there's a bad gal in Galbadia, and it's the sorceress?
Yeah, she's a bad gal. Yeah,
I pointed that out in 1999.
So we'll get more into the specifics of this version as we go. I like to play with fast forward on because I find that all JRPGs, especially old JRPGs, are better with fast forward. So I'm gonna pretty much leaving that on by default. But
we've got a Handy Andy in the chat saying I play Final Fantasy VII with 3x speed on, and it feels so weird to watch someone else play it with that.
Yeah, I'll turn it off a little bit for cutscenes and stuff. But so just a little bit of context, and then you can talk. Sure. This is Rinoa is one of the main characters. Her dad is putting together this mission for us, and we're splitting into two teams of three. One of them is going to be a sniper team, and the other is going to be the kind of guard team that lets the gate down and stuff. So we're just going to play through this cutscene. You can finish what you were saying now that we're reading through this cutscene.
Oh yeah, so we've got this. We got the sniper team. Of course, the sniper wears a cowboy hat because in the military, in the real world military, snipers tend to wear cowboy hats.
Yeah, he's a cowboy sniper, man.
You gotta have a
ponytail.
hat. I mean, snipers have to wear hats to keep
true.
the sun out of the tops of their eyes.
And they have to take what's that chemical in Metal Gear Solid?
Diazepam.
Diazepam. Well, that's a real drug.
Yeah, that is. Well, I mean, no, that is what it's called.
That's true.
Yeah, snipers have hats. They have hats.
So the sniper team and the gateway team.
I mean, we got Zell wearing his Jinkos or whatever those are.
Yeah, Zell is pretty
his
annoying.
billabongs.
Zell is just an annoying character.
Zell just stumbled out of Pacific Sunwear, hopped up on Sudafed.
He's just really hyperactive.
Did Zell's face tattoo inspire Mike Tyson's tattoo? Shout us out in the chat with what you think.
I thought it was vice versa.
Well, no, Mike Tyson got his tattoo in 2003.
Really? You looked this up. I'm glad you're prepared.
Yeah, everybody watch my 47-minute long video.
I need to do that.
You will see that I bring up many factoids like that off of what seems like the top of my head, though I assure you I did.
So what we are going to do in this episode of Stream Patrol of Kotaku Goblin Bunker Streams is we are going to go assassinate a sorceress.
Kill her. Wow, Zell is really...
Rinoa is out.
Hi.
She was trapped in her room.
Did the old man.
Her dad, trapped her in his
Good
room.
localization. So now that you've played a little bit of Chrono Trigger in Japanese on an emulator from the Super Famicom version, nearest neighbor scaled up, and you've had to read some kanji, what do you think about the fonts that Square Enix uses in their remasters of old RPGs?
So this one isn't so bad. It's not quite as color as characterless as the FF9 mobile version font. This feels like it has the serifs, which is kind of key. So this might be, isn't this close to the original font? If it's not close,
this is somewhat very close. Yes.
Yeah. So this I in general I like the Final Fantasy XII font. I think is the best, the most classic. Like that Matsuno font is just like the best JRPG font in general.
I think they picked a just a monstrously appropriate font. I think it looks very good.
Mm-hmm.
It looks, and a lot of people in the YouTube comments on my video brought up a lot of concerns where they, the same old stuff that comes up most of the time. I think this game is a very good remaster port of a Final Fantasy game as far as these things go. And the bar is pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Sure is.
the bar is pretty low. A sabotender could jump over it. That's what I call cactars because that's what they're called in Japanese.
Cactar is a way better name.
But saboten is French for cactus, and it's the Japanese word for cactus as
Interesting.
well. A little bit of useful.
Well, so then
Japanese.
cactar is an appropriately localized name, I would say. Okay, so a couple of important things. So
That won't be necessary. I'll get the job done.
yeah, so one of the big flaws with this game is that you can only get new weapons by finding these magazines. And if you some good foreshadowing there, Irvine saying that won't be necessary, I'll get the job done.
Yeah, no, he won't.
So you have to find these magazines to get weapon upgrades, and if you miss them, then you're just screwed. Like, you have weak weapons, and there's nothing you can do about it, which is a problem. It's a very flawed system.
Or is it purposeful?
So we're gonna have to go
We'll never
find that magazine that's under the sewers of, I believe it's under that I can't get this right now. I believe it's under the sewers in we're gonna put on fast forward while all this talking is going on. Under the sewers of the Caraway Mansion. We also have to play cards with Renoa's dad and
you have
lose
to.
Efrit to him.
Why do you have to do that?
We'll see. All right, so
Selfie, did you know that was named after being able to take a picture of yourself
she was.
and post it on social media?
Okay,
That's not
so-
true. She foresaw that whole thing.
So Gateway Team is waiting here at exactly 8 o'clock in hopes of lowering the gates and trapping the sorceress inside. Boom, 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 boom. This music is pretty badass. All right, so we are the sniper team, so I guess we'll go in and check on the Gateway Team, because that's what we're supposed to do right now. Let's see if we can do some maneuvering here. Tim had to go check something out real quick, so it's just me. Great view from up here. Going to trap the sorceress. Oh, I'm stuck. Okay, so their job is to stay up here and trap the sorceress. That seems like kind of an easy job. It feels like they really drew we drew the short end of the stick by being on the sniper team, while those guys get to have it easy. But
the
so
sniper
think
team
we're
gets to pull the
going-
trigger,
I
though.
think we're going to the clock tower, I guess. Oh, we're gonna wait in the crowd. General, why has the sorceress decided to have such an extravagant parade?
Well, why have a boring parade, you stupid kid? Have you ever planned a parade? Nobody sits down and goes, let's have a bad parade, right?
How about a simplistic parade? Oh, I think you have to go fix the chat thing.
Don't worry about
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Maybe I was too hard on her. So in this section of the game, so one of the things I really like about Disc 1 of Final Fantasy VIII is that as you're playing as these seed child soldiers, you are going on a lot of these cool missions, and they're all kind of elaborate, heisty, well planned out schemes. And the game kind of moves away from that later on. But between this and I just did the mission where you go on a train, and we're going back to the mission. You have to do all this elaborate rejiggering of train tracks and couples and decouple some trains, and it's a pretty cool scheme that you have to go on. All right, so we're going to check on Renoa.
Can you play cards with Renoa?
I don't think so. I don't think you can play cards with any of your characters except for one, which is a spoiler, I guess.
Spoilers. He's going to lock me in.
Oh, no.
Oh, Renoa's going to get locked in.
I'll turn off fast forward for the cutscenes. So yeah, I'm very used to just playing everything with fast forward on, which is the optimal way to play. Uh-oh, we got trapped inside.
I think I've mentioned that I think you shouldn't play with fast forward on, but that's just me.
Yeah, and you're also a narc.
Yeah, I like playing. I played all of these games at the slow speed, and I've played through Final Fantasy VII 16 times on the XXX speed, and then I played it once for making my video series just to send it off. I played it I played it through once on normal speed.
So now we're just Renoa. This is a lot of shuffling back
Oh,
and
show
forth.
everybody how many save files you get. Show
lot.
like you get 30 save files times 2. So you actually get 60 save files. So if I wanted to make an extremely exhaustive review of this game, I would be able to make a lot of little save files.
So actually, I wonder if this is where I think there's a magazine down here. I really want that magazine because I actually missed the second magazine you get, and so
You
all
gotta
my
get
dudes
those.
have really basic. There we go.
Well, you just turn on the limit break thing and you turn all the cheats on. Who cares, right?
Nah.
You're already doing triple speed. You might as well turn all this stuff on.
Triple speed isn't a cheat. It's just a time-saving device.
It's a
Because
cheat.
there are so many friggin' games on the Switch.
Look, I worked at Zynga, okay? Time, real-world time is an in-game currency. I mean, it really is. I can point you to several PhDs.
Are you saying that
who can say it better
if
than I
Zynga
can?
published this game, I mean, you would be charging real money for this fast forward.
Exactly. Yeah. It'd be like long distance.
When
charges.
did you work at Zynga?
A long time ago.
Mm.
I was there. I was there at the beginning. I helped them commit their first couple of crimes, and I benefited for a contractor's wage.
Which crimes did you help them commit?
Just the crimes of
Murder?
existing. The crimes of existing.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Oh, that's her mom. Wait, that's not really her mom.
No, it's not. I was waiting for you.
Because of my father-in-law.
No, she's trying to give her this bangle thing that like will trap her, would like stop her powers, but
Just
it's not gonna work.
I want to let everyone know that my proposal for what we should have done on this stream was I was gonna restart the PlayStation 4 one in Japanese, and we were just gonna make up fake translations of all the dialogue.
Next time.
We can try that next
time when you're back from Japan.
Give me 200 retweets, and we'll do that.
So here's a question: what is Adia's like visor thing that just went back into her head? What is that? That's what I want to know.
It's Ghost in the Shell. It's her Genova visor. Oh man, she can make the wind blow. She's a bit of a weirdo, isn't she? She's kind of just dancing with herself. She's just in the ballroom of the mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
What was that little, what ethereal partner was she dancing with when she stood up there, striking all sorts of poses?
Her outfit is really out of control. It's just ridiculous. It's just between that thing on her back that's like, it's like a cape, except has giant spears on it.
Oh, you'll notice if you turn the 3x speed back on during the cutscene, you'll notice
it doesn't work.
It crosses. It has a little crossed out logo on it.
Yeah, for the FMVs.
Someone pointed out that you turned it off during the cutscene, and it's like, oh, you can't actually fast forward these anyway.
Right.
So
Correct.
he just turned it off to get the icon off the screen,
Yes.
which is what I reflexively have been doing as well during my 3x speed playthrough that I lied about not doing. Well, no, I mean I had to turn the 3x speed on in order to capture video footage. I had a very short.
Lowlife.
Oh my God, she's young poping them.
Shameless, filthy wretches.
Shameless, filthy wretches, how you celebrate my ascension with such joy, hailing the very one whom you have condemned for generations. Have you no shame?
Look at the president. He's like, what?
Oh, no.
What are you
What
doing?
happened to the evil, ruthless sorceress from your fantasies? Your final fantasies? The cold-blooded tyrant that slaughtered countless men and destroyed many nations?
Renoa looks like she's having an acid trip.
Renault's like this. Oh,
The president is like,
Where is she
what?
now? She stands before your very eyes to become your new ruler. Huh?
there you go. That's my. That's
Yeah,
all you're
if
getting out of me
they ever
today.
do a remake of this game, you should do the voice acting
I'll do
for
it.
Adia.
Adia, are you all right?
Up.
This is reality. No one can help you.
She's young poping them. Have you seen the young?
How
Pope?
are they still? Look at the top of the screen right now.
They are the crowd.
are
The
just
crowd
loving
goes
it.
wild. The audience, they can't get enough. They just can't get enough.
No, they just love it. Up. He's done for. What is that steam?
Oh, we got Modern Folly in the chat is saying I experienced some PTSD with
Rest
with
assured, you
Renoa
fools.
climbing those crates. It was the year 2000. During my second playthrough, all I could hear in the background was my parents watching Everybody Loves Raymond. That's my friend Michaela, by the way. Shout out to Las Vegas. Represent Las Vegas, everybody.
Nice.
Oh, God, I love Young Pope.
Man, she walks so elegantly.
Elegantly for a murderess. Well, then again...
Wait, what happened to the thing she was wearing on her back with all the spikes and the cape?
She ditched it and threw it on the ground. It made a sound like a discarded umbrella. The umbrella skin of which had rotted off in acid rain.
Here we go.
I've dropped many a busted, melted umbrella onto the Tokyo streets.
She's bringing some lizard statues to life, as one does. What?
Oh my God! Yeah, is that a basilisk?
No, it's called like an igu something. I don't know.
An iguanodon.
It becomes it's one of the boss fights in this section.
I'm pretty sure the lazy localizers just translated it as iguandar.
I just want to know why she chose to just like restore
hey.
those random ass statues. It's just an interesting selection, an interesting choice. The parade hasn't started yet. The gate's not open. Squall just does not care.
You've got to be kidding.
Oh no, it's starting. Oh, the parade hasn't started yet. Now we cut a couple minutes forward. Oh no, it's starting. They're just like, they were talking like they wanted it to start. Now they're like, they don't want it to start. We need to get out of here quickstus, says Quistus. How could you resist how could you resist us not adding an istus to the end of any word with it that starts with a QU? If you were Quistus.
Okay, so...
This is the big moment where you get to play as all these characters. Oh, she's going to have a drink of wine? She's going to make a martini?
She's like, hey, here, have some wine.
Oh, this is the classic Final Fantasy VIII puzzle format of just press the X button.
Yeah, just know
like
wherever
over
you
and
can.
over and over again.
This is like an escape room, except shitty. It's an escape room with no clues or puzzles.
Man, there's like a lot of side quests late in Final Fantasy VIII that are pretty, I'm just going to say they're pretty whack, where all you do is just press the X button in a bunch of these picture It's like Myst, like, but for...
They just wanted to show off those like fancy FMVs where they can make statues. Statues swirl.
It's like Myst for grandma. It's like what a lot of these puzzles are. It's what I'm trying to say.
Myst for grandma.
Except that puzzle, like you actually had an environmental storytelling cue of a sort, right?
Yeah.
You had the painting, yeah.
Oh
so,
no.
like you sort of get it.
Need to get some GF action on these guys.
But there's some puzzles, quote unquote puzzles, in the side quests where there's just nothing to look at. It's just, oh, you press the button, you found the thing, now take it to the guy.
So one of the things that's bad about this game is that characters can't do anything unless they have GFs junctioned, and there are often these parts where you are going back and forth from team to team, and so you have to go through the tedious actions of like switching everyone's junctions from all of your characters. So you have to go and remember who has what, and like I didn't know if. Yeah, I don't fucking... All right, I'm just
This is where Persona got it right, which was everybody gets something.
Right.
You know, everybody has something by default. Like, I experienced kind of a little bit of a... I don't know if it's not culture shock, a little bit of a return shock. We'll coin that phrase. A little bit of return shock where it's like, oh, I've got to go through this tedious process as soon as I get a person in my party. I've got to unequip one from somebody, and... They should all have one that's like hardwired into them. I feel like, especially when the story has the god darn gall and gumption, you know, to suddenly start insinuating that the GF has any kind of a storyline influence, you know, where it's suddenly like, I think that our use of GF has made us forget our memories or whatever. It's like, oh man, that's just really comes across as hacky. And I feel like all it would have taken was a little bit of mechanical influence to have a GF junctioned like irreparably from everyone.
Oh, she doesn't have any magic. Okay, I was so confused.
So
I
owned.
guess I have to Yeah.
You gotta have some
Gotta-
magic.
Yeah, we have. So the other dudes. Let's see. I'm gonna exchange Squall's magic. Okay, so take, and then we'll give her Squall's magic.
Squall's on level 16.
And we'll
'cause
give
that's,
Selfie Irvine's magic.
Is that his age? Is he 16 years old?
Something like that.
That's not old enough to go to war, man.
Or is it?
So who's everybody's favorite GF?
Wait, why isn't Selfie? Didn't I give her GF? No, not yet. Okay, Siren.
Oh,
Man, this is so tedious.
one of the worst comments on my my Final Fantasy VIII video was someone who said, watches video ... He calls GFs girlfriends ... Unsubscribed! Exclamation point. It's like, you weren't even subscribed to I click on the guy's name. It's like he's a burner account.
Yeah, of course.
You
he
weren't
wasn't
subscribed to begin with, you freak. But also, it's like, I explained why I was calling them girlfriends. It was the joke me and Keith had.
How did I just lose a seed level? That's nonsense.
You lost a seed level by stepping on a water wheel. Seeds don't take mechanical apparatus-related shortcuts.
So what we really need to do is go and go to a weapon shop now that we got that magazine and see if we can get some new weapons. I don't know if there's a way to actually do it during this mission. I don't know if you can stop by the weapon shop or if I have to wait until this mission is over. But I remember as a kid, just like when I first played this in 1999 when it came out.
Yeah.
I remember just being so confused by like the weapon magazines and the items and all the hidden GFs. There's so much like optional stuff in this game that you have to really either know or like be super paying attention to.
It's kind of a soft optional where it's like, no, it's optional.
Not really optional.
It's optional, but it's like if you don't do it, you're not going to have a very good time, you know? This was one of those strategy guide games. You needed that strategy guide, which is why people were so burned on the Final Fantasy IX strategy
cool
guide.
Transition there.
Yeah.
Like panning up. And
Yeah,
like
they
directly
were flexing real hard.
Yeah, this
with
is
this
definitely
game.
one of those games that's like, look at all the graphical things we can do.
I mean, Sakaguchi was obsessed with. I mean, this is just. I mean, Sakaguchi wasn't the only guy, you know, touching this game. In fact, he wasn't nearly as instrumental on this as he was on some other. He was doing other stuff at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
he was busy making the spirits within.
But he was real hardcore on seamless transitions between FMV and gameplay. That was like something he loved. And I remember when he introduced Lost Odyssey at Tokyo Game Show back in 2006, he was like, spent a whole several minutes being like, now you're going to see the opening cutscene transition into gameplay seamlessly. And he's like, I've done this in other games before, but this is the best we've ever done. Look at Squall's visible belt.
All right, I need to, oops, I'm going to turn off fast forward for that.
Oh, look at that parade. There's just dancers. It's just like, this is the first time you're playing a Final Fantasy game and you're like, people have a good time in these games, man.
So they rezzed up like the front people, but not the background people, which looks really weird.
Yeah, those background people are baked in.
And look who it is. We thought he was dead because he was supposedly executed, but he was not.
What a
Turns out
jerk
he's
weed.
just there. And you're like, what? What?
Cypher's a jerk weed.
So who are these dancers? They're never explained, never brought up again. They're just dancers. Like, are they sorceress dancers? Or are they Galbadia dancers? It's just never explained. And how is Irvine running in the
They're
middle
just
of the
civilian.
parade?
I think they're civilian volunteers.
How are we not noticed by the thousands of people here?
They're all distracted by the pomp, circumstance, and
Makes
fireworks.
No sense whatsoever.
Distracted.
We're going to be screwed unless we do some GF switching.
Oh, also, the chat has pointed out he was doing the Naruto run, so that makes you invisible.
So now we have to do switching again, and it's just ridiculous. It's like, so we have to switch.
Ghost Little
give some
points
stuff
out
to
it's
Rinoa. We have to give some stuff to Zell and Squall because we're about to fight a boss, and we're going to be screwed if we don't. I'm going to have to heal. Ugh, what a pain.
Ghost Little in the chat points out that it's a pre-9/11 parade security.
Right. Yes, that is true. They hadn't quite gotten to the point where
people
need
just
metal
weren't looking.
detectors.
They needed a Black Swan event,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Ultimisha will be that. I mean,
She's the 9/11 of this world.
she's the Black Swan event of this world.
I get it. Yeah.
Talking about We're talking about Black Swan events today on the.
I mean, really, we're the
in the
terrorists.
Goblin
I mean,
Bunker.
we're the ones who are coming in to assassinate.
Assassinate an elected ruler. Wait, was she elected?
I don't think so.
Oh, ascension.
He might have been
She's
elected.
ascending.
He's the president.
Presidents tend to be elected, right? That's how that goes.
All right, so I think we are about to fight a boss. So it's a good thing we used our GFs.
Oh, Modern Folly has looked it up, and it is apparently the Dilling City Community College dance troupe.
All right, so we have to remember to get the GF from these guys. I think
The
it's
girlfriend.
Carbuncle. Carbuncle, the girlfriend.
My girlfriend had a carbuncle once. That's not true.
What are you?
What is a carbuncle?
I
It's
don't
like
know.
it's a sort of festooning boil of a sort, right? Isn't it? I think I might have a bunion. Does anybody have a bunion?
I thought a carbuncle was a comedian from the 1920s.
Johnny Carbuncle,
I thought it was Garfield's best friend.
John Carbuncle.
Okay, so, what the hell are those counters? I didn't even see what got cast on me. But
I should have indicated
probably
our chat is for mature audiences only.
oh my God, these. So not only the thing. One of the problems with this game is the draw system. Oops. The problem with fast forward is it really speeds up that timer.
Oh, our fact checkers in the chat have pointed out that Garfield's master is actually John Arbuncle.
Right. That was kind of the joke. So
yeah. Oh, I know. It's not. One of my new favorite things to do is to point out jokes people make in the chat as something coming from the fact checkers.
Do these guys have
Pretty
triple?
good, right?
I hope these guys have triple.
Oh man, triple's a good magic.
So one of the problems with the draw system, not only is it incredibly tedious, they also sometimes just randomly have it fail. So like you'll be drawing magic. It takes long enough to like draw all the magic you need to Junction and get yourself up to speed, but then it just randomly fails, and it's just like, nope, it's not going to work this time because we hate you. It's just so irritating. This game can be really irritating, and I think that one of the great things about this remaster is that using fast forward, which you hate so much, actually makes draw way less tedious because you can just do it, get it over with.
I just remember the pain.
So I find that in random encounters, I always have fast forward on. For boss fights, for tougher fights like this one, I'll leave it off for a little bit just so I can get my bearings and make sure I'm doing everything right, especially since I don't have good weapons at the moment. So I'm just going to cast a bunch of spells. And
fighting Maleficent's just god-darn reptile dog babies right now.
Fucking
Dragon dogs.
Maleficent just showing up in all these games.
Maleficent, as I call her.
Yes.
But only when I'm alone and there's nobody else to hear me call her that.
So let's cast Shiva. Have you ever watched The League, Tim?
What's that?
It's a TV show
about fantasy
football league, but it's not about. It's really about like
it's about the league, not what they do with the league.
It's about life in your 30s, is what I would say. But anyway, their fantasy football trophy is named after this girl from their high school named Shiva. So they call it the Shiva. And so anytime I see Shiva from Final Fantasy video game, I just think of Shiva from the league.
Oh, we've got a Paul.
All right,
Paul Myers asks, "Is draw a well-designed gameplay element by any metric?" The answer is yes, but then it's also a yes pronounced exactly that way. It's there's a lot.
The answer is
to
no.
it. There's a lot to it that's interesting. That if it worked,
it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's not 100% done.
Break.
It's not a. I don't even think it's a.
It's a broken
It's a little bit less than half-baked.
So I want some Asunas, because Asuna is a useful spell.
But I like the idea of it. It almost has a card game element to it. I feel like if the battles weren't real-time, it would have been better.
Yeah. That's part. Also, if there wasn't a chance to fail, which is ridiculous. Yeah. And also, if it wasn't like a random number, I think it would be more useful. I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's a ton of strategy involved in drawing. It just feels like you're just randomly choosing, okay, I'm going to draw now and waste my time.
I feel like game design-wise, the Final Fantasy games didn't really mature in terms of battle design until Final Fantasy X, as evidenced by Hironobu Sakaguchi lifting that battle system wholesale for Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey, where he makes minor tweaks on it for those two. It's almost as though And I mean, if I had a whole month to do nothing but, I could research and put out a video explaining why these real-time battles are dumb in Final Fantasy, and why Final Fantasy X's system was the real mature battle system. And then with 12, they just, first of all, I love 12. They try to rewrite the validity of the real-time battles by making it this 3D real-time space simulator. But I feel like if these battles had been
I haven't forgotten your
turn-based,
order. It
I
was
haven't forgotten
2
your
double
order.
doubles, extra fries.
oh, dub
Stay close
dubs.
to me.
Oh man, they're becoming friends. He's got good wrinkle honeycomb action on that leather.
Let's take this chance to get a close-up look at Squall's face.
Look at that
right
belt.
now.
First of all, can I mention?
Oh no.
No!
Wait, hold on. Okay, we're going back.
First of all, can I mention the belt?
Oh no, we
no!
lost the chance. Okay, wait.
Wait, you can get close enough.
Yeah.
Like the belt, this was like, I had grown up at this point in time. I had grown up in the veritable virtual white manistan, spiritless homeland of the Midwest for long enough to have seen many men present many belts.
Uh-huh.
Okay? However, this game made me think, maybe it's kind of cool if you can see a dude's belt. Maybe I could have a visible belt someday.
I just want to point out that if you're holding up in one direction and then you wind up in an area where going up makes you leave back the way you came,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very bad game design. And
Well-
it really violates the 180 rule, which
then
film school teaches you.
Everybody complained about the
Hey, crowd.
quote-unquote tank controls in Resident Evil, so they couldn't do it. Like that's
Maybe they should have
literally
designed landscapes where it didn't suddenly change the direction and perspective on you.
Yeah, well, they wanted to be cinematic. They actually have more cinematic camera angles in this game than they did before. Than they did in Final Fantasy VII by a long shot. Oh, are they singing Fethos Lusek Wekos Vinosek out there?
Yeah, what is going on? Where is
I made a joke in my Final Fantasy VII,
I
Final
can't, like,
Fantasy VII video that
leave?
Fethos Lusek Wekos Vinosek is Japanese for the succession of witches. And then someone in the comments was like, actually it's Latin, which was either a great joke or like extremely ignorant. Or extremely ignorant to both my joke and Latin. Kind of an interesting double-edged gun blade of ignorance there.
Why can I?
Or maybe it was a
not get off
fantastic
here?
joke. Maybe
Am I
it
not
was a
supposed to be
fantastic
going
joke.
down back the way I came? Because I can't seem to go off the ledge.
I've been going down back the way I came about 20 years. Let me tell you.
Are you okay, Tim?
I mean, yeah.
I couldn't leave that way. I can't leave. Okay, why is the crowd still freaking out? There's nobody talking to them anymore. What are
Look
they?
at that! Look at that! That's great.
That's ridiculous. What are you guys doing?
They just love seeing anybody. These are people who go buck wild, hog bonkers for a person approaching a podium.
Oh, there we go. Okay. There's
Oh.
no indication whatsoever that that's where you're supposed to go. It's ridiculous.
Future video games of cinematic backgroundology would introduce the
there's
mechanic
the
of
sniper rifle. What is that
the
doing
glint.
here? They just left a sniper rifle on this random ass. This is
have
this
you
is a
not
bad
seen
plan.
The Godfather?
that was at least in a well hidden place. This is just like
That's
straight
true.
up out in the open. All right,
Anybody
Irvine,
hasn't seen The Godfather,
you got this.
gotta watch
I bet Irvine is going to have absolutely no problem with this, and he is just gonna get the shot off.
Visible
and
belt.
it is
Visible
all
belt.
going to go extremely well.
He's got to enter his chill zone. Give him
Huh?
a cigarette.
Oh, he must be concentrating,
Snipers need cigarettes.
just like Solid Snake.
That's why the Ray-Ban.
Loneliness of the sharpshooter.
I guess he has a point.
Cypher, so he's alive. Renoa. Cypher's
Mhm.
alive. Yeah, because Renoa was really upset.
What does it mean?
That's what do you think she's saying in Japanese?
Oh, yeah.
Nan
yeah.
desu ka?
なぜでしょう? I don't know. なんという意味でしょうか? 知らねえ.
Yeah, so this game has an okay localization, I would say. It's not. It was Final Fantasy IX where they really just like started putting a ton of care into every single line. Here you can. There's definitely some clunkiness, but
It's
way
much
better than 7.
Yeah, it's incredibly better. I noticed a couple of lines that were clearly translated without looking at the game.
Mm-hmm.
That
But
I
there
had a
is
good time.
some good humor and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of some good jokes in this game.
Well, the characters, they had more of a blueprint to go from. They had, first of all, a team, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it wasn't just one
Just
guy
one-
like Final Fantasy VII
One guy
was.
with Excel.
Yeah, one guy all by himself having to do the whole thing in 2 weeks.
I
He's
got a
freaking
feeling
out.
that something is going wrong. Don't tell me you're getting the jitters.
He needs a
Feeling
cigarette.
that Irvine might not be able to pull this off. Uh-oh, here we go. Mr. Confident suddenly let down his guard, and we all started to learn the truth. He can't pull it off. And now we cut. And now we have to go through this fucking junction switch again. Yeah, this game is... People should know. You should know that if you're planning on either replaying this game or playing it for the first time, there are some tedious
Some
things.
crusty oldness is here.
Yeah, even at the time it was annoying. It's not even
Yeah.
like...
If you've ever played all the way through a Persona game, it'll still annoy you.
It
Right?
sure
So
will.
it's like, I mean, it is kind of a light, what I call a game design touch,
Mhm.
right? It's there's a lot of this game design in this game, and which is like the draw system,
Oops.
the card economy, that just the overarching, the whole world has this economy of collectible trading cards going on. There's a lot of these little things in here, and a lot of that ambition unfortunately spills over to stuff like having to switch all your junction.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like the more ambitious a set piece is from a narrative standpoint, the more the game design intrudes, which is the opposite of what, ideally you would want. So like here we have, because the scene narratively requires the characters to be separated, and it relies on the separation of the characters for impressing us. Like the thing that's impressing us about this scene is that we're switching between characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because
like a
it's relying
genuine
on
heist.
yeah, it feels like an operation is going down. So because it relies on that to impress us, the game design just has more of an opportunity to feel goofy and clunky. And it's like that's ideally not what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, it's what we had to put up with in 1999.
Also, this is a sewer level, and really everyone knows that sewer levels are always the worst part of any video game.
Sewer levels belong at the beginning of JRPGs.
I thought you were going to say sewer levels belong in a sewer.
Sewer levels are for the rats. How many video game RPGs start with a sewer? Or something resemblant of a sewer?
So I don't know about starting, but I remember Xenogears, the worst part of the game is the sewers.
Yeah, that's pretty early. But that's a bit.
It's-
Or is it?
Well, pretty early for Xenogears.
Yeah,
It's like
Xenogears is a
20,
long
it's like
goddamn
10,
game.
15 hours in. It's when
Trails
you-
in the Sky starts with a sewer.
The sewers are when you're stuck in Nortune in
Final Fantasy XII starts with the sewer. Ni no Kuni 2 starts with the sewer. Zelda Link to the Past sort of starts with the sewer. I could go on.
But a sewer level is fine if it's like an action game. It's just JRPGs that are or really any sewer where it's like the same friggin' map over and over again, and you're just so confused. And you have
I
no
mean,
idea
Ni no
what you're
Kuni
doing.
2 like owned it so hard in that the villains are rats, like literally rats. Like, and then, I mean, I know I've met a bunch of people from level 5, and they love RPGs and even their tropes so
Oh, I
much
forgot to equip.
that I bet
Karma.
that was a sly nod to the idea of the early sewer, that Ni no Kuni 2 starts that way.
All right, we're gonna.
I feel
give
like if you had,
Carbuncle.
like a huge buffet of more choices
Uh-huh.
of GFs, I feel like this system would have been better.
Mm.
If you had like way more GFs and they were like very nuanced choices that like really hyper. It's like,
More girlfriends.
yeah, more girlfriends
missing
for the
somebody?
dollar. You're missing one.
Who am I missing there?
I feel like if there were twice as many GFs, it would have worked out better.
I don't think I missed anybody. Who is supposed to go there?
I think
I'll let
whoever
the chat chime in.
conceived
Oh, right. I
of
haven't
this,
done Diablos yet. That's fine. No problem. We can do that anytime. All right. I'm going to do some learning.
get some stuff. Whoever conceived of this system, I think they had in the back of their mind this far off dream of like Overwatch heroes in their head for the GFs, you know?
Mhm.
I feel like game designers have been building up to the idea of like a MOBA hero for a long time. I think
Uh-huh.
JRPGs in particular were doing that.
Mm.
Which is what made Oninaki kind of interesting for me, in that you basically have MOBA heroes and MOBA moves that you junction to yourself.
Wait, hold on. Did we come from this way? I hope not.
It's-
This is the problem with sewer levels.
It's the same art,
It's the exact same screen.
which is why Nino Kuni
no.
2's opening sewer running at that 4K 60
Think-
FPS is so good.
All right, hold on.
That breezy action combat.
This is like stupidly repetitive.
You've beaten Nino Kuni 2, right?
Yes,
Did you do the review of that?
I did.
I didn't read the review because I intended on playing the game, and I don't read reviews if I'm excited
You
about
should
a game.
read reviews after you play games. That's
Yeah,
the best
well, I
time to
didn't-
read reviews.
Well, that's the thing. I ended up not playing all of it.
I enjoyed Ni no Kuni 2 more than most people,
I-
although it was
I-
kind of stupidly easy.
I loved what I played. You know, I can chill with a stupidly easy RPG every now and again.
Uh-huh.
Brings me back to the days of being able to unlimitedly draw magic from dudes. With
We got
with-
back to sea level 6.
Oh yes.
I guess they like that we escaped the sewers successfully. All right, so I think we are.
See, that's a neat thing about this game is, again, little game designerly things like it's start and stop watches.
Oh my God, we're back where we left off.
But you at least you leveled your seed level up.
Yes, I did.
At what
How did we
point
wind
do
up
you?
back at the start? At least we got this shortcut now.
Yeah, you bloodborned it. Didn't reference Dark Souls. I did it. You know what? I jokingly reference Dark Souls pretty often. Where
Sewer
the
levels
joke
are
is
really the worst.
that people talk about Dark
Save
Souls
again.
too much, but that joke is so old by now. I think you should be allowed to just mention Dark Souls.
Well, no, you should just mention Bloodborne every time because Bloodborne is like Dark Souls except way better.
Bloodborne is tasty. It's all about demon
Here we
souls,
go.
though,
All right.
to be honest. It's all about the
Now,
demon souls.
I think we need to get up because that is where the gateway team is supposed to be, and we use that thing to trap the sorceress, right?
Oh, yeah.
I should probably turn off fast forward.
You're going to shut the door on Mr. Princess or
Oh,
whatever her
right
name
on
is.
time.
20
8
0
p.m.
0 0 0.
Right
Oh,
on time for Irvine to be really depressed and have a
Oh,
panic
yeah, the
attack.
Carnival Clown platform go round has appeared on the roof. Irvine has a gun. Is he going to take the shot?
Look at those dancers. These dancers.
The Deling
Just
City
to
Community
reiterate.
College volunteer dance troupe. The volunteer firefighter community college dance troupe of Deling City.
Just to reiterate, those dancers just are never explained, never brought up again in this
Oh.
game.
That sweet. You see those
Structure now.
those
hit the
polygon
switch.
models as the FMV pulls you in. The polygon
Mhm,
models are
mhm.
being like hand rotated frame for frame
I love it. I love it.
by some. I almost said by some jerk. Some sad jerk
Some sad jerk.
sitting in the office on a big old CRT monitor back in like 1997 and a half.
All right, this
Tell me
is
whether
all right. We're gonna get
still
to some
working on-
intense emotions here. Irvine Kinius.
Yeah. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I always joke like
It's
this.
so interesting because he like until now presented himself as this like
try to
super
act all-
suave assassin dude.
I try to act all cool, joke around, but I just can't handle the pressure. Forget it. Just shoot. My bullet, the sorceress. You think you can shoot Maleficent? Galbadia?
Come on, Irvine, you can do this.
More like Bad Galia.
Squall putting on his leader hat, and Irvine,
Squall.
calm down.
Calm down.
Everyone's waiting on you. This is not helping, Squall. Come on, Squall. I don't care if you miss. All right, that's pretty good. Good pep talk. Just think of it as a signal, a sign for us to make our move. Just
I
a
think
signal.
This is so hammy. I love
Squall
this.
is really learning leadership
Please.
skills. He's working on his management. All right, he did it. Good work, Squall.
Wearing motorcycle boots, learning leadership skills.
Just a sign. So how did people not know when they assigned Irvine to this in the first place that he was?
Oh, look at that. The hand
Always gonna
rotated. See him
choke.
jitter? I love it.
Here we go. Up.
Oh, yeah,
And
you
that's it.
idiot.
Nope, did
You
not work.
fool.
At least, I mean, it was a good shot. It
I
was
guess
like
I'm the
going right
worst.
for her. I mean, how would he know? Yeah, see, his aim was perfect. I mean,
I'm going in for the sorceress.
all right. Now, so they send us to the menu screen, which is hinting that we need to be doing this, but they don't actually tell us to do it. They expect us to remember once again to do this fucking junction swaps. But we can do it. It's no biggie. All right.
Everyone in the chat is saying Squall was being a good leader. Yeah, sure. He was being an okay leader. He was trying. However,
Well,
he should have known that this mission was a bust, and he should have never taken it.
I think saying everyone is counting on you
should have
was
done his
probably a
intel.
bad idea. All right. So
He should have told Irvine to just heck off back down the elevator.
I believe we have a couple of boss fights coming up.
Let's go play
see
some
how this
cards,
goes.
eat some hot dogs. Play some cards, eat some hot dogs is what they really should have done. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh, snap.
Snap into murder action. Grand Theft Auto, baby. See,
I
Final
forgot
Fantasy
about this. I
15
forgot that he
wasn't the
takes a
first
car.
wasn't the first Final Fantasy dude driving a god darn Rolls
Convertible.
Royce looking convertible Cadillac Chevy.
Wait, how did he just slide through the bars there? That didn't really make sense.
He's a skinny man.
It was a person-sized gap between the bars? Like, what? Why is there a gate there with person-sized gap?
Yeah, so there's a reason why the portcullis was not the ultimate in security and why the Dark Ages became the Dark Ages.
Also, why is Adia's cloak back on? I thought she took it off before. Now she has it back on.
Can you imagine
How long do you think it takes her to put on that makeup?
calling up the hardware store and being like, I'd like a portcullis with really wide bars? And the guy's like, okay, man.
And now it's missing again. Look, now her cape thing is gone. It's only there in cutscenes. I prefer to be called her knight.
You suck, Cypher. You suck
Cypher's
so
a very
much that
sad character.
he sucks so much they put the text box over his face.
I saw someone ask before, by the way, to answer the question of what we were playing this on. The answer is Switch, because I try to play all of my games on Switch.
I've been playing it on the PlayStation 4 because that's the version I got.
I'm gonna use his own magic against him. We're gonna turn on fast forward for this. Oh, that
Yeah.
kind of sucks.
Turn on fast forward when fighting a chump. When fighting a chump dirtbag who needs to grow up a little bit more than you need to grow up. Squall needs to grow up, however, he ain't got as far to go as Cypher does.
Yeah, he just showed some real leadership there.
Their level of maturity is relative to the length of their coats, I would say. Inversely relative.
He's done. Gotcha, buddy.
Oh, I'm a chump. Oh, you're losing it, Cypher.
A
Oh.
seed planted in a rundown garden.
Oh, she just basically said, my little
So
boy
rude.
got owned and I don't care because he's an idiot.
So rude. Adia is just up, and now she has her thing back again.
Yeah, because she's back and she's dressed for battle.
Appears, disappears, up, and our buds are here.
I can fight if I'm with you.
And my dog, who I shoot at people.
Oh, Angelo, the Final Fantasy dog.
All
The
right, let's
original
see.
Final Fantasy
Ooh,
dog.
Kira, that's going to be helpful. What is question mark? Let's find out.
I think that's Big Boyopolis magic that will allow you to
Up, draw
enslave Cypher.
fails. Fucking draw fails.
She's got some varicose action going on in her forehead area.
So I should probably cast double on all of my dudes.
Shout me out in the chat if you're varicose in your area.
Which area?
I think that'd be a weird banner ad to see on the website. check out varicose in your area.
Hot young varicose in your area.
Like dating for extreme seniors. Well, how old is she? Like 2000?
All right, what are we getting? Oh, dispel. Okay, cool. So we are.
Oh,
going
check
to...
out Dispel right here.
All right. Simmer down.
Oh, cast
Simmer
that
down
cure.
there. Simmer down there. All right,
Oh,
we're gonna put fast
660.
forward back on. See, you can see it's like
Always fast
painfully-
forward when you're fighting a chump.
It's painfully slow without fast forward. I've got to say.
Oh my god, struck by lightning. Oh my god, struck twice. They say it don't strike twice. They didn't see this part of this video game.
Double.
The whole idea about being able to cast instantly when drawing is very fun.
Yes.
You can possibly get more
I wanna
instances
stock-
if you cast. I feel like if there had been a little bit more risk, and I feel like it must have been designed this way. If there had been a little bit of risk attached to drawing, a little bit more, like your defense is much lower when you're drawing.
Well, but then you draw it all. Like instead of
Yeah.
having to draw over and over.
Yeah,
again,
I
they
think
needed
draw
something
failed is
where-
bad. I think there's no place for a dice roll there. I think it
Right.
should be a risk. Drawing should just be a big risk. And
it
also
should be
there
a risk, but then it gets you more. Like it gets you
Yeah.
like 20 of them each time or something like that.
Yeah. And I mean, they would need to get down to like some Bravely Default math at that point, though.
Yeah.
Like, and again, that would make it better as a turn-based game. And if anyone in the chat would like to play a game that handles risk extremely well and was inspired by this, play Brave Story on the PSP, which is designed by people who worked on Street Fighter 2. And it's an RPG, and it's beautiful. That's all I have to say about that. Or maybe I have more to say about it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
please keep going.
I wish there was another way to play that game. There's a mechanic in Brave Story for PSP where the longer a character goes without healing, their Brave stat, which is like a hidden number, increases. And it makes you just stronger and stronger and stronger.
Oh, that's interesting.
And basically, you just have to have other characters support them so that when that character cracks and breaks their Brave streak, it feels like a big monumental decision. And it's if you just start extrapolating on that and thinking, well, what would happen if your defense goes down the longer you don't heal? And I mean, like the longer they don't heal, like other people can heal them, right? So there's all these little tiny like things that work best in a turn-based scenario, which is why I mean I really wish there were more. I mean, Octopath Traveler it's been a year since Octopath Traveler. I can say it's kind of not good.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you finally agree with me there.
I loved it, but it's not very good. The best part of it is
that game,
that battle system has a lot of potential.
Yeah, and then they just slapped it on a game where it's like every single mission of your 32 missions you have to do, or 32 scenarios are all identical.
I think they could have made like a really good like 20-hour little game with like characters and a story.
Yeah, that would have been dope.
For all the visual influence that Final Fantasy VI
I think they started off and they were like, this is Octopath Traveler because there are 8 characters, and then in the middle of doing it they were like, ooh, we have made a mistake here, so they had to like figure out a way to cut down scope, and they did that by making everything the same.
It was very much like an original Game Boy game. You know, it felt like an original Game Boy game with really shiny graphics, and it was weird that it wasn't 60 FPS. It's 60 FPS on Steam though. I mean, it feels like if they're gonna go for a pixel look, they should go all the way. There's just a lot of there was weird things that clashed and like marred my impression of it, but I had a real good time for that first cycle of getting all the dudes, you know? I had a real good time for that.
And then you realize, I remember having the sinking feeling as I was playing it, and it was like, oh
this
man,
is a Game Boy
this is
game.
the same. It was like, oh, this is the same thing over and over again. Like this formula is not going to change.
Did you ever play the
That was
game
really frustrating.
Children of Mana on the Nintendo DS?
Was that the RTS or was that Heroes? I played the RTS.
That's Heroes of Mana.
Yeah.
So
I didn't play Children.
Children of Mana was just like a top-down. It was a Diablo-like, but in that extremely sad way of being like a one-player Diablo-like, which Oninaki gave me like super hard vibes of Children of Mana.
So
which
is
why I'm
Oninaki
thinking
just
about
bad?
that. I actually kind of like it.
Yeah, but you like bad games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like picking parts out of stuff. It's you've played the previous Tokyo RPG Factory games,
I have,
right?
And the
You
first
don't
one,
like them, right?
No, I liked Setsuna. I thought it had a cool vibe.
But then Lost Sphere is pretty dead.
Yeah, after playing Setsuna, I was like, okay, this is like a good starting point. I'm excited to see what they do next. And then they came out with Lost Sphere, and it really sucked.
I
So
feel
that was
like
kinda disappointing.
I feel like they did something that was not expected. I don't know how many people over there in Las Vegas, maybe our friend in the chat can let us know, how many people in Las Vegas were speculating about what Tokyo RPG Factory was going to do next after Lost Sphere.
She killed Shiva.
But there was there was the option where I remember seeing that for some reason the review scores were a thing. They were like, I Am Setsuna was like compared to Chrono Trigger somewhat unfairly because there was these expectations built up, right? And then Lost Sphere is like, oh, they're making another straight up hardcore old-fashioned JRPG. And I'm like, I'm a big dumb baby and I'll play it, right? And then I ended up not even beating the demo, right? Like I ended up just being like, oh, it's kind of boring and the combat is like too slow. And I know that came up a lot in the reviews because I read some reviews of Lost Sphere.
I gotta focus for 1 second.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is what we had to deal with in 1999. Everybody.
Right.
This is what the
I
game
think
looks
it's
like.
over.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
there we
won.
go. Okay.
Didn't receive exp. It's because you used the 3x speed. That's a joke. You don't get experience for bosses in this game.
Yeah, some people like to play with the challenge of seeing how low level you can beat the game at. Oh, this part is cool. This part is the part that launched 1,000 fan theories.
Oh, also the enemies level scale with you.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't level you. Oh, here it is, here it is, here it is.
It's coming.
Oh, you got moited.
So
Da boy's dead.
this spawned a fan theory called Squall is dead.
Yeah.
And the rest of the game is a dream. This is also the end of Disc 1.
That's also the favorite fan theory of, I think, every entertainment, right?
But fun fact, I asked Yoshinori Kitase, who was the director of, I don't know if he was the director or producer of this game, but very involved in all the Final Fantasy games.
He was
I
in
asked
the
him
room
about this, and he was like, no, not what happened. Also, I don't even think, like, it's never brought up again what just happened, right? Like, I remember it just cuts to them in prison or something. We'll see right now. But I believe it's never actually brought up again.
Oh, now we get to see how does it handle the disc transition. I already knew, because...
Yeah,
there's my boy.
I hate the Laguna parts. Laguna is so annoying.
Again, huge potential.
Mm.
It would be neat if it was neat. The ending, I don't want to spoil the ending of this because the game has just come out and there's a lot of people who will be playing it for the first time. I love where the Laguna story goes,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily how it gets there.
Mm-hmm.
There's one element of how it gets there that is unquestionably great,
Mm-hmm.
and that is his battle music.
Mm.
The man with the machine gun.
Yes.
One of the standout tracks from this game.
Yeah.
Triple
the
Triad, Shuffler
standout.
Boogie being the
Yeah,
other.
that's fair. Okay, I think this is a good point to turn off the machine after getting past
Shut
Disc
down
1.
the machine.
Oh, Kiraga. Yeah, so this is Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. To those of you wondering whether you played it or not, whether you played the game in the past and want to replay it, or you have never played it before and are curious to check it out.
I'd
So if
say
you
it's
haven't played it, well, so yeah, this is definitely the best way to play it today. It was with this remaster.
I mean, look
oh my
at that
God.
smeary background.
Yeah, look at those backgrounds.
I've got to
Really
say
something.
the PS4 one does
Wait,
actually
look
look
at this
pretty good.
L.
Like it looks significantly sharper.
Elle will turn around to face you no matter how many times you walk around in a circle. She will just turn to face you. That is
She's going to grow up to be a heck of a tennis spectator someday. One of the best.
That is some serious graphical tech right there. So
They
anyway,
went the extra mile or
if you
kilometer.
if you haven't played this game before, you should know that it is very tedious in a lot of ways and very broken in some ways. And I recommend you play with a walkthrough, like find a free walkthrough that'll tell you how to find the upgrade magazines and stuff like that.
Definitely get them magazines. However, counterpoint, for every annoying element of the game design, the game also has one heck of a jacket on a character.
It sure does.
So every character gets a really good jacket. If you love jackets, like jackets.
Yes. And if you're into jackets,
Oh my God.
are there
a
random
battle.
encounters in this town?
Oh, here's the music. Here's the song of which we spoke.
Yeah, another good thing. So one of the advantages that this game has over, say, an emulator is that fast forward on this lets the battle music play and like all the
At the
music play
normal
at normal
speed.
speed.
And
which
the menu
is
cursor move at the
huge.
expected speed.
Yeah, exactly.
However, the menu
Oh my
cursor does
God.
not move at 60 FPS, or the menus don't move at 60 FPS, which is really jarring and strange. Because
Okay.
usually they do.
So yeah, this is a good place to end the stream on. And
Oh,
so yeah, so,
kill that bug.
fun video game. If you would like to read about it, there is a Final Fantasy VIII retrospective on Kotaku.com, or you could go watch Tim's video if you want to
40.
watch footage of it.
You can watch my 47-minute video at the
Mhm.
bottom of the post, of which is a link to your retrospective. So, how about that?
And on that note, I think it is time for us to say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
We didn't even play cards. Next time.
Wait, can you play cards with him?
No. No.
Why ain't Laguna cool with cards? Did they
Why
not
are there
have them?
random battles in the middle of the city? That's what I want to know.
Can't you just load another save and play some cards?
Okay.
We joked
so-
about playing cards the whole time, and then we played no cards none of the
Well,
time.
it turns out we were in the middle of a spectacle, like a crazy mission, so we couldn't play cards.
Should have played cards against Adia the Sorceress. Stop the
I
battle.
don't think you can actually play cards against General Caraway until later, right? And there was no chance for me to play cards with him at all,
Yeah, that goddamn guy.
unless I missed it or something. But I don't think I did. Anyway, that is it for this this episode.
Oh,
of
Quistis learned blue magic
Tim
from
and
that.
Jason stream things. Tim, I don't think we'll be streaming things for quite some time in the future.
No, I don't think so, no.
That is it. Farewell.
Goodbye, everyone. And I'll see you all tomorrow. on another stream, and also somewhere else tomorrow. You'll see me.
Are you gonna be in the thing?
No.
Oh,
I mean, in a manner of speaking.
Hmm.
In a manner of speaking, I'll be there.
Hmm.
Goodbye.